You're at the door, the homeowner's interested. You've done the inspection, they're nodding along, and then right when you're about to close, they hit you with it. This all sounds great, but I need to talk to my husband or my partner, whatever it is. The other decision maker isn't there. And for most reps, that's where the deal dies. They leave a card, they say, call me when you've talked it over, and they never hear from that homeowner again. But here's what top reps understand. The one-legger isn't dead. It's a closing opportunity if you know how to navigate it. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how to close deals when only one spouse is home without being pushy and without creating problems when the other one eventually finds out. Here's what we're breaking down. First, what I need to talk to my spouse actually means, because most of the time, it's not what you think. There's psychology underneath that you need to understand. Second, how to reframe the absent spouse from a blocker into a beneficiary. This is a subtle shift in language that changes everything. Third, the follow-up framework that actually gets you back in front of both decision makers. Because if you have to leave, you need to make sure you're coming back to close, not just hoping that they call. Let's get into what's really happening when you hear this objection. When someone says, I need to talk to my spouse, most reps hear that as a hard stop. But here's what's actually happening in their head. Sometimes it's real. They generally make financial decisions together and they need to have that conversation. But a lot of the time, it's just a stall. It's a polite way of saying, I'm not sure yet, or I need a reason to say no. The spouse becomes a convenient excuse to avoid making a decision right now. And here's the thing. If you just accept it and walk away, you're letting them off the hook. You're giving them permission to think about it forever. So how do you know which one it is? You ask this. Totally understand. Let me ask you something. When it comes to decisions about the house, do you typically make those decisions together, or does one of you usually handle certain things? That question does two things. First, it tells you how they actually operate. Some households, one person handles all the home stuff. The other person doesn't care and doesn't want to be involved. If that's the case, you might be talking to the decision maker already, and the spouse thing is just a reflex. Second, it opens a conversation instead of ending one. Now you're talking about how they make decisions. You're learning something, and you're staying in the game instead of walking away. Here's another question that works. If your spouse were here right now and heard everything we just talked about, what do you think they would say? Would they be on board? Listen to how they answer. If they say, oh yeah, they'd probably be fine with it, that tells you the spouse isn't really the issue. The issue is they need a little more confidence to move forward. If they say, honestly, they want to see all the numbers and think about it, that tells you there's a real conversation that needs to happen. Either way, you've learned something, and now you can respond to what's actually going on instead of just accepting a generic objection. Real quick, if you want the complete system for handling objections like this, not just the spouse stall, but all the common pushback you get at the door, check out our Roofing University certification program. It's the full framework for roofing sales. Links in the description. All right, let's talk about reframing the absent spouse. Most reps treat the absent spouse like an obstacle, like this person who's not even there is standing between them and the deal. And when you have that energy, the homeowner feels it. They get defensive. They feel like you're trying to pressure them into something without their partner's input. Top reps flip this completely. They position the absent spouse as the beneficiary of the decision, the person who's going to be happy about this, the person you're actually helping. And that one shift changes the entire dynamic. Here's what this sounds like. Let's say you've done the inspection and found legitimate damage. Look, I totally get wanting to talk to your husband about this. And honestly, when you do, I think he's going to be relieved, because right now you've got damage that's only going to get worse. And the longer it sits, more it costs. You bringing this to his attention and getting it handled, that's a win for both of you. You hear what happened there? You're not fighting the spouse conversation, you're supporting it. You're framing it as, when you tell him about this, he's gonna be glad you did. Here's another angle. I get it, big decision. Here's what I suggest. Let me leave you with all the information so you can actually walk him through exactly what we found. That way, when you talk tonight, you've got everything you need. And if he has questions, I can answer. I'm happy to jump on a quick call with both of you. Now, you've done a few things. You've given her tools to have the conversation. You've positioned yourself as a resource, not a pushy salesperson. And you've planted the seed for a follow-up that includes both of them. The key to all of this, you're never making the absent spouse the enemy. You're making them the person who's going to appreciate that their partner handled this. That reframe takes all the pressure off and keeps the deal alive. If you have to leave without closing, most reps say something like, "Give me a call when you had a chance to talk," and then they never hear from that person again. Because here's the truth, they're not gonna call you. They're gonna talk to their spouse, maybe, then life happens. They forget. Then 3 weeks later, another roofer knocks and closes the deal that you should have closed. If you're gonna leave, you need to leave with a specific follow-up locked in. Not call me sometime, but a real appointment. Here's how you do it. I totally understand you want to talk to him first. That makes sense. But here's what I suggest. I'm going to be back in the neighborhood Thursday evening around 6. Would it work for me to stop by for 10 minutes when you're both home? That way I can answer any questions he has directly and we can figure out the next steps together. You've just set a follow-up appointment, not a vague, "I'll call you," a specific time when you're coming back. Now they're expecting you. Now there's a real next step. Another approach, get the spouse on the phone right now. "Hey, I know you want to loop him in. Is there any chance he can jump on a quick call right now, even if it's just for like 5 minutes, so I can give him the overview and answer any questions? That way you're not trying to relay everything yourself." Sometimes they'll say no, but sometimes they'll say, "Yeah, let me see if he's free." And now you're talking to both decision makers. Deal's back on track. One more thing. Whatever follow-up you set, confirm it before you leave. "All right, so I'll see you Thursday at 6. I'll shoot you a text Thursday morning just to confirm." Does that sound good? Now you've got permission to follow up. You've got a specific time and you're not just hoping they remember. This is how you keep one-leggers from disappearing. Look, the spouse objection doesn't have to kill your deals. When you understand what's really going on and you have a system for handling it, you'll close deals that other reps walk away from. And if you want the complete training, objection handling, closing, frameworks, the full roofing sales system, check out Roofing University. Links in the description. It's everything you need to level up your roofing game. All right, let's bring this together. The one-legger doesn't have to be a deal end. First, understand what's really going on. "I need to talk to my spouse" is sometimes real, sometimes a stall. Ask questions to figure out which one. Find out how they actually make decisions. Don't just accept the objection and walk away. Second, reframe the absent spouse. They are not an obstacle. They are the beneficiary. Position it so the homeowner feels like telling their spouse is a win, not a risk. Make it easy for them to have that conversation. Third, lock in a real follow-up. Don't say, "Call me when you've talked." Set a specific time to come back when both decision makers are home. Or get the spouse on the phone right then and there. Leave with the next step, not a hope. If you do this right, one-leggers become closable deals. If this was helpful, hit subscribe because we're putting out roofing sales content every other week. Real tactics that you can use at your next store. And if you're serious about taking your skills to the next level, check out Roofing University. Links in the description. All right, go close some one-leggers. I'll see you on the next one.